It is mid-September, and that means we are preparing for our fall gardening season here. I am super excited to show you guys what has been going on in the garden. As you can see, it's kind of empty behind me, but I've already sown some seeds and there are things coming up already. I'm super excited to share with you guys some of the things I'm noticing and what has already popped its head up in the greenhouse. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back to Mini Urban Farm, a channel about gardening and homesteading in the suburbs. My name is Veronica, and on this channel I teach you how to grow food in the backyard, in a suburban environment, all of that stuff in raised beds, in ground, containers, all of it. Alright, so if that sounds good, don't forget to subscribe. But we are getting into our September garden tour. Every month I do a garden tour. I will show you guys exactly what is going on in the garden, what is growing, what's doing well, things I'm learning along the way, and all of that. Let me show you the first thing that has popped its head up. Guys, it is so hard to believe that in a few short weeks this will all be alive and thriving and tons of food growing in this backyard space. But the first thing that has actually popped its head up is in this bed back here. As you can see, we have some little green dots, and all of these are salad greens. All right, we have some arugula, we have some mizuna, there's a few other Asian salad greens in this little mix over here. All right, but this was actually the very first thing to pop its head up. All right, these salad greens grow super fast. If you're looking for something to plant out that will still get you results, this will give me salad greens in less than a month. So that is pretty much this entire space has been salad greens. Now, as you can see, there's some other stuff in here. All right, this is actually ginger. All right, I have one there and I have one here. This one is starting to spread. You can see two little knobs coming up. I planted this out in the middle of summer. I'm still waiting for it to grow. I'm hoping that I can overwinter it in here and it'll continue to grow, and I have some in my other bed behind me as well. Alright guys, so just a little side note. If you are looking to grow the most amount of food that you can fit into your backyard space, into your gardening space, you definitely have to check out my free resource library. It is a collection of things I've learned throughout tons of seasons gardening. Alright, things like budgets and trackers and seed starting resources, things that I've just compiled throughout the years, and I'm sharing with you that entire resource library for free. I will leave that in the description below. Don't forget to check that out. It will definitely help you on your gardening journey, so go and check that out. Now, that is this bed right here. You can see our drip line coming from behind us. I actually started getting some little carrot seeds popping their head up. This took a little bit more time. I think I noticed them this morning, but there are quite a bit of them in here. The longer I came, and you can see some like actual lawn clippings in here too. But that doesn't make that much of a difference. It doesn't bother me. And then next to it, right here, are all of our herbs. Now, these herbs have been growing for the past several months. We got some lemon balm in here, which I think is probably getting a little bit too much water. The same thing with this one over here, because that one back there, that's all lemon balm too. And this one looks really yellow, so I'll probably have to adjust the watering for this one. We have our oregano, which is spreading like wildfire all up in this bed. And then we have some parsley that's kind of getting a little crowded out back here, but I have been using it a ton, so that's probably why as well. And so I did see some butterflies and caterpillars on this parsley. Every time I plant out this flat leaf parsley, I always get caterpillars and butterflies on it. And then on the next side over here, we have some beets. Now, I don't think I've seen anything popping up in this space. I think this is like just some of the grass clippings. I thought I had seen like one or two, but it doesn't look like anything really has germinated yet, so I'm still keeping my fingers crossed for the beets. Now, I do have a mustard green in here. I actually am not growing this season. Well, I guess now I am, but I didn't plant it this season. It's just something that volunteered itself back up from last season. This is where it was. And then this lemon balm. Could you believe this is one plant, and I think it had like one tiny little stem on it, but now it is growing like crazy and it is so fragrant. we've got our scallions in here also that have been growing insane. This is probably like 3 feet by now, this one little stem here. So I've just left those in place. We keep harvesting from them. And I have some beans. Here we go. So you can see these beans are starting to look a little rough. All right, this one right here has already gotten cutworm damage, right? Not my favorite thing to deal with, but we will be taking care of those early this time around. Now, these beans over here, all right, these are all the same type of beans. They're not very uniform, all right? You see we have like 1 or 2 here. We have one that's getting a little bit bigger, and then you have a whole bunch of like these little ones that are struggling a little bit, or just they don't look uniform, all right? Versus the ones over here, which are all pretty much doing the same thing. All right, now I'm not exactly sure why that is. I think it's, well, 2 reasons. One, there's a lot less water on this space and it's been raining a lot more. So I think maybe this is just getting less water. So getting the lines out of these beds here. I'm gonna give it a couple days and see what happens. And then I might just come in here and fill in the holes. You know, I still have quite a few of them popping up, so hopefully that will, you know, make a comeback. And if not, I'm gonna just take these little gaps in here and plant out whatever didn't actually germinate. All right, but these ones are also my yellow beans. Everything from this space on out is yellow beans, and everything from this space on out are my green beans. And I'm not sure why that happened, because my green beans, my jade bush beans, and my blue lake bush beans are usually the first things, and they do really well, and they all look like that, but I'm not exactly sure what happened, or maybe they got too much water, so I'll give it a few days for that. Now, if you're wondering why there's nothing on the trellis, all right, how come there's like a whole bunch of empty spaces here somewhere, in the back here, for instance, that is because everything that is going up against the trellis is currently over here in my little greenhouse. All right, so this is most of what's growing for fall. Everything that I had planted out really only like a week ago, it is all doing ridiculously well, all right, because I have, not to toot my own horn or anything, but finally I figured out the secret to starting seeds and getting good germination rates. All right, and it has a lot to do with this little mini greenhouse, the humidity temperatures, monitoring the actual outdoor temperature, all right, in combination with the temperature inside the greenhouse, and making sure that they are getting enough water, including bottom watering all the plants. All right, so you can see some salad greens, which are doing really well here. In the back there, I have my Swiss chards, and then some broccolis in here. I'm gonna have to come through and thin a lot of these, right, because like Brussels sprouts and broccolis are much bigger plants. You can see some of them even are starting to get their second set of leaves. And then back here, if I can get the camera all the way in here, back there are my butternut squash. All right, so that is our second layer. I have a lot of flowers in here. I'm gonna try to take them out without collapsing the whole thing. But I have a lot of flowers in here that are also developing their second set of leaves. And then over here are my tomatoes. All right, I have some Roma tomatoes, and I have some yellow tomatoes, and some little green grape baby seedlings, grape tomato seedlings, that is. And so I generally leave this open. If I can get this, there we go. I generally leave this open, and then once in a while I'll come through and I'll close this all the way. I'll zipper it up, and then when I notice that it's getting really hot, I just open it up again. But I put this down and I close up the entire greenhouse when I first plant my seeds. And then what I do is when I start seeing things pop their heads up, I come back and open it. Now, earlier today, I had it closed up in here because I want to raise the temperature and get those things growing faster. But now I'm gonna leave it a little bit more open like this so that they can breathe. And it's actually really nice out right now, so not too cold, not too hot. Perfect environment for little seedlings. All right, so behind me, I have something that I've been growing for summer, all right, but I have not ripped it up yet, which is my okra. I have two different types of okra in here. I believe one is a pink okra, and then one is my orange okra that I grew 2 seasons ago or last season, I can't remember now. But I have my okra in here still growing because my seedlings are going to take a little bit more time, and I'm hoping to get some okra before I have to rip them up and put in my seedlings. Now, my fall seedlings definitely take priority over this okra for multiple reasons. One, not too many people in this house like okra besides me, but also because I know that I started this okra really late in the season, which meant that I probably will not get a lot of it if I get any of it at all. All right, if I would have started it earlier, it probably would have been coming out in the next month or so, and I would have already been getting a lot of okra because of the amount of heat that it needs and its perfect temperature for summer and all of that stuff. But for right now, I'm just hoping and praying that my okra does give me something before I have to rip it up. However, if those seedlings get big enough to the point where they need to come into the garden and these things are not producing yet, we're gonna have to say goodbye to the okra. All right, and then my last stuff I have is actually not in the greenhouse or in the garden. It's just a few plants that I don't really cover, like the snake plants and the aloe plants. I have a huge aloe plant back there that's doing really well. But my mint is coming back. It was kind of getting fried, that in combination with not enough water during summer, which is definitely my fault, but I have watered it and it is just popping itself back up. So this is spearmint, which I really love because I use it to make mojitos in the summer. I'm trying to let it overwinter. If I need to, I'll bring it inside. And then I have some chaya, all right, which is going to eventually go in my food forest. I just recently potted it. You can see a lot of new growth on it still. Now, this is something that I got as a free clipping. Somebody actually took some of it off their plant and gave it to me at a local nursery. And I am just trying to get it big enough to the point where I can put it outside and the deer will not eat it. But this will eventually be going into the food forest, and it is getting pretty big actually. And the same thing applies to our moringa. All right, so this moringa is getting really big. It is starting to lean a little bit, which is not my favorite. That is why I ended up cutting this one. All right, this in this pot here is also moringa. I cut it like maybe 2 weeks ago, and it already has all of this. Like, there was no foliage on it at all, but now tons of leaves again. So definitely a fast growing tree. And I have some herbs over here that I just potted up. Somebody gave me a little pot of thyme, so that got separated and put into these. And then my papaya, which probably needs to be potted up again. I'm trying to get it where the sun is not scorching. It's super sunny out here right now, but this is my papaya, which will eventually be going, which will eventually be going into the food forest as well. I have, I believe, 3 papaya plants, so that will be a little bit bigger and hopefully will start to produce fruit as soon as we fence in the food forest. Alright, so I know that in mid-September here, there's not a lot going on. I'm super excited to have all my stuff started, but it doesn't look as pretty as in other months in Zone 9B here because not a lot of stuff is actually growing yet, and you know, nothing to harvest at this point in time. I am super excited to see this just come to life in the next month or so. Fall gardening goes really fast because of the types of crops. They just grow really fast usually. The types of things I plant, mostly the salad greens, and I've planted out tons of them this season. So definitely looking forward to getting a huge harvest and growing the most amount of food I can possibly grow in this space. So that sounds like something you're interested in. Don't forget to subscribe, and if you're looking to see a complete list of everything that I am growing this season, I will leave that here on the screen. Don't forget to check that out, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.